Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Downer, and this is Roots to Renovation, and I am here with the owners of Peterson Roofing, Jody Peterson, the founder and CEO, and his son, Ryan, who is the COO. How are we doing today, guys?
Doing great. Thanks, Mike.
Doing good.
What we're talking about today is how Peterson Roofing became the Quad City's most trusted roofer. So, Jody, I think I'm going to ask this question to you. Who is Peterson Roofing, and why have Quad City homeowners trusted you guys for over 45 years?
Well, Peterson Roofing, we started back in 1987. I started in the roofing industry at age 16, working summertime work when school was out, and helped out on a roofing crew, got my feet wet in the construction business that way. And then met a good friend of mine many years ago. Haven't seen him much lately, but his whole family was in the construction industry. And from that point, we formed a little roofing company and didn't do very well. There's more to that story, but that kind of launched me into the roofing side of the construction industry. And from there, we just kind of spread out, got bigger through hailstorms. The hailstorms hit in my area where I lived back in 1987. And kind of branched out from that point. Got to meet all of my neighbors in that area, passed out some flyers. Thought, why not help my neighbors out? I have damage on my house. I can help them. They know me. I'm in the neighborhood. They trust me. So that kind of got my foot in the door in a pretty big way, doing my neighbors' roofs and siding all within probably a few mile radius of my home back in 1987.
That's quite a while. So what values have shaped your company from day one, Jody?
Excuse me, I didn't hear the what
What values shaped
values.
your
Okay, yeah, I didn't
day
hear
one?
that word. Values. Well, I can go back to the way I was raised. I was raised in a home that really values were the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I was raised to treat others as being more important than myself. So that's always been our commitment to our customers. I can't say we're perfect, but we're always there for them. If anything's ever need anything, we're going to be there. We're going to be number one commitment is to our existing customers before it is to potential customers. So there's a trust factor when you hire us. You know, if there is any small problems, nobody's perfect. I remember when I first got into business and I was hiring employees, I had someone apply for a job, said they'd been roofing for 5 years and had never had a leak. And right then and there, I said, that guy's not telling me the truth, because if you've been roofing 5 years, something is bound to go wrong. But the difference is, are you going to stand behind your work? Can you give the customer peace of mind once they hire you, once the sale is over and everything's done? Are you going to be there if they do need service? So that's our core value. We're going to be around. And a lot of these companies, if you just go back a few years, look in the yellow pages, you'll see that probably half of them are not even in business anymore. Maybe 10 years ago, they're gone now. And that's kind of the way this industry works. And like I said, we've been doing it since incorporated since 1990 under the same name. And that's what drives us, is to be there, always be available to our customers.
That's amazing. So what was it like building a roofing business in the Quad Cities with nothing but a truck and a commitment to honest work?
Well, boy, that was a long time ago. It's hard to even remember that, but it wasn't easy. I remember, raising a family, became responsible in a hurry, right? You know, when you're 16 years old and life is fun, and all of a sudden you're 21 and you're raising a family, you realize, hey, it's time to be responsible. And you can't do that by just doing what you want to do. You have to keep your family in mind, your customers in mind, and that's what it was like. I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't a lot of equipment. It wasn't a lot of help back then. So I worked very hard to establish the company, and always had the same work ethic, doing a great job at a reasonable price.
Work-life balance. So
Yes.
speaking of family, Ryan, maybe this one's for you. How did how did you join the family business to bring modern systems while preserving like your dad's original core values?
Sure. Yeah. So my dear dad sent me off to college. When I would help, all through the times when I was little and everything. And there's a story that goes when I was little and my dad was working on a job and somebody was supposed to be watching me. I was there, but apparently somebody took their eye off me for a second and I climbed up the ladder 10 feet or so and they're like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Isn't that how it went,
Yeah,
Dad?
and you weren't very old. You were probably 3 years old, 2 to 3
3 years old.
years old.
Okay,
3 years
yeah.
old on a ladder.
That's one of the first memories, and then I would help and stuff, and I was okay, but the whole plan was go off to school and do something else, But I went to business school. Couldn't wait to get out of the Quad Cities, right? Because it's so boring here.
Where did you go to school at,
I
Ryan?
went to school, a place called Belmont University. So
Okay.
Belmont University is in Nashville, Tennessee, kind of near Vanderbilt University. It's
Okay.
funny. I bring the school up with people, and a lot of people know about it. And you might see them in the big March Madness NCAA tournament every few years. They make it there. It's not a very big school, but anyway. So I went off, got a business degree, and ended up coming back to the good old Quad Cities working in the family business. So that was about, I guess I've been here about 20 years, been back here now about 20 years working with my dad. And so, yeah, I guess a few years ago, I was like, hey, Dad, and my uncle was working with us too. I'm like, let's get some things going here. Like you said, Mike, modern things. We really started using systems, computer more as far as how the leads come in, how we do our estimates, how we handle the material orders, all of that stuff. Really got to keep up with that in this day and age. So yeah, we moved over from using papers and our old proposals and our metal boxes to modern systems.
So give us a break, Ryan. I mean, guys, old guys like your dad and I tell you, we love our paper, don't we?
Yeah, sometimes there's nothing that beats a real piece of paper. It's true.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, and Jody knows
Yeah,
what I'm
I
coming
love the
from.
digital world, but it's the learning curve I don't like.
The learning curve
So,
is the problem.
Right.
Exactly. Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job following in your father's footsteps and continuing on with, his commitment to quality and his legacy. So, good for you for doing that. So, hey, why do local building inspectors and home builders in Davenport choose you guys to for all their roofing and home improvement needs? You guys can both kind of tag team that one.
Now I'll let you.
yeah, I can tell you that back, it's probably over 20 years ago now, I actually worked for the two top building inspectors in Davenport, so
Okay.
both of their homes. So that would be one reason why building inspectors trust us. We've done a lot of large apartment complexes over the years. So you have to get all of those people together on the same page to hire a particular company. That takes a
Yep.
little bit of work. So we build trust amongst a lot of people at the same time when you're doing those type of works. But most of our jobs are just individual homeowners. Um, yeah, so the people have trusted us over the years because we stand behind our work, as I was mentioning earlier. If they ever do need something after the sale is over, many years down the road, I've had people call me back and say, my gutter's overflowing. 10 years after we did the job, I'll get up there, it's a tennis ball in the downspout. We take it out, we put it on the ground and say, here's your problem. And they say, what do I say? No problem. You're a customer of ours. Don't worry about it. Just give us a good review.
Do you have anything to add to that one, Ryan?
That's pretty much it. It really is a lot of word of mouth. I mean, the Quad Cities isn't that big of an area, so it doesn't take, somebody knows somebody, and it's not long of a connection, right? Remember the old, what was it? How many degrees to Kevin Bacon game or whatever?
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm dating myself with that
6
one.
degrees of separation, exactly.
That's what it was. Yeah, yeah. So people, you remember that? So you're gonna know somebody in the Quad Cities that knows somebody. It's not that far removed, and
Right.
so that word of mouth travels. And if you're a bad company, that's gonna travel around too.
Yes. So sounds like you guys have done a great job of, your commitment to your customers and just building your reputation to that level where, when even the building inspectors themselves are choosing you for their personal homes, that's quite a testament to your company. So,
Mhm.
so guys, let me ask you this: what does completing over 200 jobs every year across the Quad Cities teach you about what homeowners really need?
Well, I could tell you, number one, what they really need is for you to listen to them because they have concerns. A lot of companies will think, okay, we just um, they won't even show up. Sometimes it's just send an estimate through the mail or digitally or whatever just by using a satellite. And not saying there's anything wrong with that, but a lot of times there are things that the satellite just isn't going to show, and you need to be
Right.
there and you need to hear the customer's concerns. I could tell you a little story about a job we just completed a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago that it went back to the previous year, 2025, when we started to get the ball rolling and said, okay, we know your problems. We'll do the job in the spring. Well, they have a heating system in the attic, which is not a big deal in this area. You'll see it more down south, the furnace or whatever up in the attic space. So there's a potential issue for condensation problems and things like that. So we got up in the attic, looked around, saw what needed to be done as far as ventilation, insulation. They had pipes that were from vent pipes in the bathroom that were ducting right into attic space. That's a big no-no because of condensation issues. So we got up in there, we saw what the problems were. We devised a plan. They were very comfortable with that plan. We executed the plan this spring, and they won't have any problems for many years to come. And that's the big deal. What do they really need? They need you to listen. Then they need you to do the job at a reasonable price and do what you say.
Very good. So I'm going to ask each of you this, and then this is where it gets a little bit fun for you guys. So, um, Jody, I'm going to ask you first, and then Ryan, I want you to be thinking while your dad's talking. So can you share a story that captures why Peterson Roofing has lasted for 45 years in the Quad Cities?
I'm gonna go first because I thought of one.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's because it's the latest one that just came to mind. And Ryan, you're gonna have to come up with something else. Well, just like 3 days ago, we got a call from customer, and we both went down there. It was just a leak. We didn't know anything about it other than there was a roof leak. So we introduced ourselves, and the homeowner tells us a little bit about what the problem is, shows us inside. So we go up on the roof, and the first thing, we both look at the roof and go, this is a mess. It's about an 8-year-old roof. Wasn't done right. I don't believe they lived there when they didn't have the roof put on. They bought the house after it was put on, but didn't know any better. So we get up there and there's all kinds of things wrong with the roof. The flashing is bad on the chimney. The exposure is incorrect. It's put on crooked. There's raccoons have tore the ridge vent off. That's not on the installer who did it previously, but there was a number of things that needed to be done. And when we got all done and came down, and they're like, "Oh my goodness!" I showed them pictures of, because her husband showed up shortly thereafter. Showed them both pictures of what was going on up there, and like, "Oh my gosh, look at this!" And do we need a new roof? And Brian and I, we looked at each other and we said, "No, you probably don't need a new roof. You can probably stretch this one 10 years if you make the repairs that we recommend." And so they said, "We are so glad that we got a hold of you and you came down here and looked over the roof for us." And that motivates us to be able to help others and to fix problems. Of course, we'd like to do a new roof when necessary. That's how we make our money. But when it's not necessary, we're going to let the homeowners know that. We're going to make necessary repairs, and then down the road they'll call us when they're ready for that new roof.
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
The commitment to that honesty is hard to find these
100%
days.
right.
I'm glad that
Honestly.
the company is still committed to that. Okay, Ryan, I'm going to put you on the spot. Same
Okay.
question for
I've been
you.
trying to think, and yeah, that was one of the latest things that has happened. But that's happened quite a few times, and I couldn't remember right now. But there's been times where me and you both, Dad, will say,
Mm-hmm.
"You don't really need a new roof right now. You can stretch this out however many years." Whereas I think most roofing companies would be glad to sell a new roof and as expensive as they could get it. I think that also ties over into the insurance world. A lot of times it's pushing this and, hey, I'm going to get this all paid for and yada, yada, when really there's some honesty involved there with that. And homeowner comes out on the other side of that experience in way worse shape than if whatever contractor hadn't lied to them. But just thinking about other instances, I'll think of one that's kind of recent. We have a customer who done quite a bit of work for over the years, actually cabinets too. I do garage cabinets. We'll talk about that in a later episode. But he called me. We're kind of like, I think of this with a lot of our customers. We become friends after a job, right? So this gentleman called me a while back. We've had a lot of wins here in the Quad Cities here in early spring. And he's like, I got some shingles off. Can you come take a look at this? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be right there tomorrow. I go out there, got 2 or 3 cap shingles blown off. I'm like, hey, this isn't that bad at all. And he's like, hey, I think I actually still have the cap shingles. So I'm like, I'll put these up here. I'm not going to charge you anything. So he's talking to me from the ground up to the roof, and we're catching up, just on things in life. I'm like, hey, everything's all good. Just let me know if you need anything else. And then he texted me a few days later too, and it was actually a picture of in his closet, his shelves had fallen down. He's like, you think you might have some time with all the rain coming up or the weekend? You could help me put this back up. And I'm like, yeah, I could probably make some time for you, to do that. He knows because I've done, like I said, interior work on cabinets and things. But anyway, before I had a chance to help him, he's texting me pictures back of he got it up himself. He's like, I had to go all over and find some screws, but I got it up. And I sent him a picture of windows we were putting in on a home. And I'm like, this is what I'm working on today. And he's like, oh, wow. Or, what's the story on those windows? Are those good? And I'm like, yeah. And we're going to be putting some really nice board and batten siding up on this. And he's like, I'm interested to see what that looks like. Send me pictures as you keep going on the project. So again, my memory isn't as good. I have to have something to kind of jar it loose. This is just something that happened in the last few days. But there's lots of people like that where we become friends. And that's what I think, we really focus on as a company. We like to have, a good relationship with the people that we work with. It's not just let's run you through the system and get your roof on there and we never see you again. So
you treat them like people.
That's right. Yeah, we're people. We fix problems and like to be friends. So
you guys, you guys have done a great job of explaining everything. So I started this out with Jody. I'm going to ask you kind of the same question. I'm going to reiterate it. Ryan, I kind of want to hear your perspective, just so we can remind everybody and wind this up. So who is Peterson Roofing, and why have the Quad City area homeowners trusted you guys for over 45 years? I'm going to let you kind of give your view on
that. Was it me? Is that what you're saying? Am I finishing?
Yeah, I'm going to have you.
Well, I was just a kid in the first of 45 years. But I've been working with you for 20 years, Dad. So, why? What was the exact question again, Mike?
Who is Peterson Roofing, and why have Quad City homeowners trusted your company?
Excuse me.
Who are we? Well, I think we've talked a little bit about who we are. We're a father and son team. We've been in the Quad Cities this whole time. We're not just somebody that came into town here and trying to scoop up as much money as we can and looking to exit and sell the company, cash out. We are from this area. We're not going anywhere. We're not looking to spread out anywhere else. And we're also, I would say, experts in this, right? I mean, you've been doing it so long. It's not very often that something comes up where we haven't seen it before. And I think what we're trying to do is let people know, if we haven't already worked for you, because we know a lot of people, let people know that, hey, we're here. We're not going anywhere. Come talk to us. We'll take care of you.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing your stories today. Some funny ones, some good ones. And I look forward to getting into a little bit more about what Peterson Roofing does, all the services you guys offer. Sounds like you built yourself, a good, solid, reputable business there in the Quad City area. And I look forward to talking to you guys very soon.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for taking the time today, guys.
Thank you.